Episode 88, Wake and Rake Podcast. Will Middlebrooks, Danny Vietti. Our pets' heads are falling off, Brooksy. Like everything, like what's going on in the league. Like the Cincinnati Reds are in first place. The Boston Red Sox are 3 games over 500. They're in last place. The Minnesota Twins do not have a winning record. They're in first place in the American League Central. The Texas Rangers are in first place in the American League West. The Arizona Diamondbacks are in first place in the National League West. Fuck's going on in the league, man? It's June, 20th.
Our pets' heads are falling off.
Okay, just calm down.
I love it. I don't love it for the Sox. I'm not going to complain about how tough their division is because it is what it is. We wanted competitive balance, and there's been a little bit more of that, at least from the teams at the bottom of the barrel. Look at the Reds. I was looking at some record. I'm trying to look. I have it written down for you. You're gonna love this. I have some stats. You love stats and like history, and I have it for you. The Reds. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So they've won 9 straight as of last night. So they have a chance to win 10 straight games, and that will match the longest winning streak since 1900 by a team that lost 100 games the year previous. Wow. There were 3 other teams to do it. So there is the 1986 Indians, the 06 Brewers, and the 2022 Orioles did it last year. Those are the only teams to ever do that. So we're looking at like one of the bigger turnarounds that's happened in the game. I mean, they were 65-1 to win their division.
Wow.
65-1. So there's somebody out there that has a good chance to make some money. There's still, we're not even halfway through the season yet, but you got to think they're going to be buyers at the deadline. Right, so they're going to go out. I think they need a starter and a good reliever, and that would really help them out.
Everybody needs a starter, man.
But you see, Joey Votto's back and went deep his first game back. Because in our last episode, we're like, what are we going to get from Votto? Like, is he going to be anything? I still don't know that he is at this point in his career with his body where it's at after all these surgeries. But homer's a homer, and you add that leadership to a young, fiery club. They might just be onto something.
I forgot to wish you a belated Happy Father's Day.
Hey, thanks, man.
To all our listeners, belated Happy Father's Day to you. So you didn't get to spend Father's Day with the gals, though. You were on a plane out to Boston. Did you do anything during the weekend?
I originally was going to be home with them all day and then fly out Sunday night to Boston because I'm here all week for pre and post game. The team's out of town. They're in Minnesota, and then they go to play the White Sox, but we do pre and post game from here even when they're out of town. I'm actually doing it with Jonathan Papelbon this week, which is a complete riot. He's a crazy human being, but in all the best ways possible. It's a fun show. But the Saturday game, Red Sox versus Yankees here at Fenway, got rained out. Fox was supposed to have that game. Since they had to play a doubleheader on Sunday, Fox can't cover Sunday games. They don't have the rights to it. ESPN does. So ESPN actually had the night game. So we had to step in at Nesson and cover game 1. So I had the day game against the Yankees in the booth, which was a lot of fun. It was my first Red Sox-Yankees game that I got to call. So it was pretty cool Father's Day, and they got the win. They swept the doubleheader. They swept the series. And then I watched game 2 in the stands as a fan. That's cool. I know a lot of the security guards and the ushers in the stadium just from my years being here. And I make sure to always be nice to those guys because they put in the hours. And there's some guys that have been here for 40 years doing it. It's really cool. So, I know where my guys are. One of my guys is up on the Monster. And so I went and found him, and I was like, hey, I know these are probably going to be sold out seats. But he's like, I think that one's open. So I sat there. I was like a few seats down from the foul pole down the left field line for like 4 innings. Then finally someone showed up, and I was like, went to just kind of float around, and I sat all over the stadium for Yankee Sox at Fenway. It was the first time as a fan I've ever been able to do it.
Did anybody happen to get video of a casual fan walking up to Will Middlebrooks and saying, hey, buddy, you're going to have to boot it?
Okay, so no, I was like, I didn't want that to happen. And plus, like, I'm not like Big Poppy walking around. Like, people don't,
But are you in your suit?
No. So the hotel's closed. So I came back after the game. There was like 2 hours in between games. Okay. Like showered up, changed clothes. I was just in like jeans and like a hoodie.
Okay.
I was just hanging. And then like Nesson has a suite where they like sponsorship comes. They have people, there's food. So I went up there, got food and drinks for free. I was about to drop $15 a beer. And I'd go up there, get some food, get a beer, go to a seat, watch a couple innings of the game, go back, grab some more food. It was a good night. I haven't got to do that as a fan ever, so that was pretty cool.
So you can walk around the ballpark and sit in a seat and watch a game and not be just,
I'm not like swarm with people. I'm not like I wasn't like a Hall of Famer, but like some people will like come say what's up, but it's nothing crazy. It's fun. I enjoy it. I like getting out there and like mixing it up with the fans in Fenway.
It's crazy how quickly you get recognized as soon as you put on like either a uniform or a logo. If you're wearing your Nesson polo, like I found that out when I went to Oakland. My pops went with me. Actually, he was our unpaid intern video camera guy for the night.
Okay, that's fun.
And he was like, man, like people recognize you, Danny. And I was like, yeah. I'm like, a lot of it though is because I'm wearing the blue CBS Sports polo. Like that is a cue for people. So like if you wear your jersey out in public and it has your name on it, it's just like immediate.
Which would never happen. But
well, no. But like if you're at an autograph signing or something like that,
Oh yeah. But if I'm at Fenway, people, I mean, that's how like I guess crazy like
invested.
They live and die Red Sox around here. As much as like the local radio wants to say the Red Sox are dead, no one cares about them. The stadium's packed out. Like people care. They care. That doesn't fit the narrative on the radio here for sports talk radio, which is just so negative. But that's big market is what happens.
Last question for you when it comes to Sunday, just logistically, how did that work? So you were sitting at home Saturday, and all of a sudden,
So they kind of put it on my radar Friday night.
Say that one more time.
Huh?
Say that one more time.
So they put it on my radar Friday night.
Okay.
One of my bosses, a guy named Mike Berry, called me. Was just like, hey, just want to give you a heads up, put it on your radar. It's not looking good weather-wise tomorrow, so like look at some flights. We might need you to fly in to do the game on Sunday. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, my kids are 3 and 4. Like, they don't know what the hell Father's Day is. It's just another day. Like, hey, cool, thanks, Dad. Here's your card we drew on. See ya. It's not a big deal to them. They're not at that age. So I was like, yeah, of course. I'd love to spend it with my family, but I've been home for a week, and there's a chance to do Red Sox Yankees. I'm not going to turn this down. So Saturday, I'm looking at it was like 90% rain, like all day. So I went ahead and booked a flight just to be safe. He called me like midday before the game even was officially canceled. Was like, there's no shot they get this in. Like, book your flight. So I flew up. When was it? It was Saturday night. So I got in nice and early, prepped the game, went to the stadium at like 9, finished working, and then called the game.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it's fun.
Sweep
the Yanks, baby.
Yeah.
They're playing good ball right now. That's the thing with the Red Sox. They're just so up and down, up and down, up and down. Like the first month and a half of the season, like the offense was really good, like top 3 in baseball in a lot of categories. But starting pitching was like 27th, like awful. Right?
So Brian Bayo is him.
Dude, he's a stud. So is Paxton. James Paxton is back. I don't know if you saw any of his outing I think his last 4 outings, he has like a 2.2 ERA.
He's always had great stuff. He's
averaging like 8 strikeouts a game. It's just, and he's facing good teams too. So I don't consider even though the Twins are in first place, like I don't consider them a good team. I don't think they're a good team. They're in a shit division.
Yeah.
And it sounds like I'm like, I just don't think they're a division leader. They're just in a bad division.
You've always liked Cleveland from the start of the season.
But even them, I'm like, at this point, I'm like, they're not a real like World Series contender.
Yeah.
Like whoever comes from this division, you have to win this division in the playoffs. None of these teams are going to get in based off of a wild card. They're not good enough.
You're talking about the Central, right?
The Central, yes.
Yeah. No, I mean, Minnesota's 1 game over. Cleveland's 5 games under in second place. Detroit is 9 games under. Kansas City is 19-53, the worst fucking record in the league, and they're 16 games back in first place.
Has anyone had a losing record and won their division? I don't think that's. No. I know for a fact that's never happened in the history of the game.
Really good question.
I'm pretty sure it's never happened.
The only division winner to finish losing more than they won. 2005, San Diego Padres. No, you're correct. The headline is super shady. It says, thanks a lot, Bleacher Report. It says San Diego Padres, only division winner to finish losing more than they won. And then it says the Padres finished the season 82-80.
So maybe after the post-game series losses, I don't know.
Oh, okay. So here we go. Okay. Let's go to MLB.com. They're going to know what they're talking about. Okay. They won't talk about the A's boycott, but they will talk about historical records. The worst record to make the playoffs were the 2005 San Diego Padres. They still had a winning record at 82-80. So
no one's ever done it.
No. After that, the St. Louis
we
Cardinals.
are looking at a legit chance of a team with a losing record getting in the postseason this year.
I think the Twins,
and they're going to have to win their division, obviously, to get in.
I still think the Twins finish with a winning record. I think the Twins offensively struggle when Buxton's not in the lineup for sure.
Yeah.
If they can get him back healthy, I think they're going to be fine. Pitching wise,
they pitch. I mean, they can pitch.
Dude, they get as much swing and miss in that starting rotation between Lopez and Joe Ryan and Sonny Gray as
good too.
Anybody in the league. I'm not exaggerating. When you look at swing and miss percentage on Baseball Savant, those three starting pitchers, Ryan, Gray, Lopez. Thank you, Lopez.
So Lopez threw last night.
Mm-hmm.
He is filthy. Number one, the ball comes out of his hand different. Like it's almost uncomfortable even to watch. Like thinking along, like as a hitter, like sometimes you really have to guess with him, but he has so much natural movement on everything he throws. I feel like this is where the Red Sox got him, is they kind of waited him out because his chase rate's like through the roof.
Yes.
Right. He feasts on guys being aggressive against him because everything starts in the zone and everything works out. You kind of have to take the 4 before 3 method up there, like thinking I'm going to take till 2 strikes, because most of these pitches that I feel like are strikes when I swing end up out of the zone. So even Tristan Casas hit a single off the wall, like 110 miles an hour, bounced right to the outfielders with a single, but then he hit 110 mile per hour homer to right field. And both of these pitches that he squared up were down and in off the plate, like not even close to being. They would have been called balls. So it's like he didn't make but like 3 mistakes over the plate. Everything was either blacked or off, and it starts on the plate and works off. So you can pretty much wait him out and get into good counts to hit, where he's forced to throw you pitches over the plate. But teams aren't doing it because there's like seeing it out of his hand looks good to hit, and then the movement is just killing him.
Interesting. The team itself is really top heavy. Like lineup wise, you have like Correa, Buxton, you throw in maybe a Royce Lewis or someone, and then after that it just kind of falls off. And then starting pitching wise and bullpen wise, you have the Gray, Ryans, and Lopez, and then after that it's like a little bit more of a mixed bag, like Maeda, is he healthy, stuff like that. And then bullpen wise too, you have Dron Duran back there, and then you have Jorge Lopez, who can be a bit of a coin flip. So your top guys on the Twins are good, like legit MLB all-star caliber players. And then there's like wide open space in the middle, and then a big drop off to like the rest of their lineup. And they have one of the highest strikeout percentages in the league lineup wise. So they just don't have a lot of depth. You mentioned Miami, and I want to transition into Miami. You called me on the phone when you're on your way to Boston because you found something with a certain guy on Miami, and I kind of want to let you break that down because I found it fascinating.
You got to be talking about Arraez, I would think.
No.
What are you talking about?
Sandy.
Oh my God. See, I was so locked into Arraez right now because I misheard you. So I texted you this morning, was like, dude, we got to talk Arraez. Like he's back to 400. Like he's doing something like it's crazy.
That is also crazy.
Yeah. I'd already put Sandy out of my mind. I'd already forgotten about that. Yeah. So
that's good shit. You can't let that just go by the wayside. You got to fill these.
Well, I forgot about it because so much stuff has been going on.
So Sandy Alcantara, he's your 2022 NL Cy Young, having unarguably his worst season so far this year. You look at his numbers, batting average against, velocity's still good. He's throwing still 99, 98 miles per hour in the 7th inning on. He's still pitching deep in the ball games, but he has an ERA that's inching near 5, which would be a career high for him. I mentioned how his velocity this year, his average fastball velocity is 98.1. That ties his career high. So it's not a lack of velocity. It's not a lack of stuff.
That's it. Like something's up. Something's up because I've been digging into the analytics. Like, so I was at the airport the other day when I called you about this and was like, for some reason I saw his stat line and I knew he had been struggling, and I'm just thinking, okay, like his velo must be down, right? Because he's always averaged like 97 on his fastball or more. But his average fastball is exactly the same. I mean, or close. Let's see, his sinker, his fastball is averaging 97.8. All right. Last year it was averaging 98. So it's literally the same exact thing. All right. His fastball, his sinker, 217 batting average. It's pretty much in line with last year. Actually, that's even better. Last year, he 265 batting average, his sinker. So I'm thinking like, okay, how is he getting hit? What's going on? Where's the hard hit coming from? And then I look at his changeup, which last year, really the last couple years, was considered one of the best secondary pitches, if not the best secondary pitch in all of baseball. You look at 2022, opponents were batting 145 against his changeup, and he threw it a ton. Like he threw it nearly 28% of the time. Like he used it. This year, he's using it 26.5% of the time. Teams are hitting 313 off of his changeup. How does it go from one of the most lethal secondary pitches in baseball to teams hammering it? I mean, the exit velocity has been high. The swing and miss, the whiff percentage is 35.5, which is interesting because last year it was 34.5. So the whiff percentage is actually higher, but the batting average is higher. That tells me and I looked at the movement. I'm thinking maybe it has less movement. It's not dropping. It's not running. Maybe the differential in speed is closer to his fastball. So guys are just seeing it better and they're not being off balance. All the movement, all the speed, all the deception, the arm angle, everything is identical from last year. So that tells me, if I'm looking at that, I'm thinking he is 100%. Not every team, but some teams he's facing have found a tip. I just feel like he has to be tipping his changeup somehow. Now, the Marlins, every home team looks at their own pitchers to try to find these things. They clearly haven't found it because it hasn't changed. And it's clearly not every team that has it on him because not every team is having that success. I haven't gone down and looked at exactly which teams. If there's like some teams that stand out that hit him better, maybe we look into that because they clearly have something. With all the video and technology in today's game, it's like you can pick apart and slow down, and you have all these different camera angles where you can find something on almost every guy. Now, it's different from being able to see it from like watching on TV or the third baseline. Or, can you see it in the box, right? Can you see it in the box from behind home plate or from the batter's box? Can you see what he's doing? So, the classic thing is like pitchers flaring their glove on a changeup because their hand has to expand in their glove to get the grip. That one. That's like one of the best. But some guys just move their gloves on certain pitches. Some guys don't move their hand as much in their windups. There's so many small things that every pitcher does. And some people can find things. I feel like that has to be exactly what it is. There has to be some teams that have found something with his delivery, and he has to be tipping that changeup because it can't just go from being one of the best pitches in baseball to be getting crushed. And that's been the biggest difference in his numbers. His mechanics are the same. The movement's the same. The velocity's the same. He's the same pitcher, except his best pitch is now getting hit.
Last year, you mentioned the percentage. He actually threw his changeup more than any other pitch last year. He threw it 900 times. The next highest was his sinker at 818. So he threw his changeup more than any pitch last year. And like you said, damn near unhittable, 146 opponent batting average. My initial reaction to you telling me that was, what does his heat zones look like? Is he leaving it middle? You said you kind of took a peek at that as well.
Yeah. I'm pulling it up right now. I had it in front of me a second ago.
You're good.
So it's not middle. Like it's down and how does this turn? So this would be down and into a righty. You look at his heat zone. You should be able to clip this and put it on the video to show it. But like, it's not over the middle of the plate, right? If you look at his fastballs, they're up in the zone where he lives with he spins that four seamer. His two seamer, it looks like it's on the inner half to righties where he wants it, because that's where he plays the changeup off of it. And you look at the heat zone, it is in the down and in quadrant to a right-handed batter. That's exactly where it's always been. That's exactly where he wants it to be. Unfortunately, some teams, it's clear they know it's coming. So if you know 97 with run or 98 with run is coming, that's one thing. If you know when a guy's going to throw his changeup, which is normally 90, 91, 92, all of a sudden that turns into a BP fastball, right? All of a sudden that's a if you treat that like a fastball, you just treat it like a two-seamer. It's not overwhelming velocity that's going to beat you. So if you're able to sit on that pitch when you know it's coming, it's going to get turned around.
Man, that's fascinating stuff to me. Anytime I hear a guy,
I also could be completely wrong.
Yeah.
I just don't know what else it could be.
Yeah.
But the numbers indicate that, because like I said, with the metrics and the movement, the horizontal, vertical break, all that, isn't that different? So the pitch is the same.
Yeah.
The velocity is the same.
You look over his career,
has something on his changeup.
Nobody's ever had a super high batting average against his changeup. His worst career high was in 2019, 274 opponent batting average, which is fairly high.
That was like when he first came in the league, though, right?
Yeah, exactly. 313. That's
you look at Scherzer at the beginning of his
from
career.
last year.
Like, you look at a lot of guys at the very beginning of their career, they're completely different guys.
Yeah. Fascinating stuff. Let's stay with Miami. Luis Arraez. He's now back up to 400 after yet another 5-hit performance. He has 3 5-hit games this year, 0 2 strikeout games. He still hasn't struck out twice in a game, Brooksy.
I know. So this whole thing is getting a little ridiculous, right? Like, he's the first player with 3 5-hit games in 1 month since Dave Winfield did it in 1984. Dave Winfield was one of the best players, like most athletic human beings ever. He got drafted in 3 different sports?
Yeah.
Something like that. It's insane. So you can go a little bit further on this. So the record for 5-hit games in a season is 4. It was by Ichiro, Tony Gwynn, Stan Musial, and Ty Cobb. Ever heard of them? Ever heard of those guys? Like, some of the best hand-eye, bat-to-ball skill guys of all time. And those are, let me say it again. So 4 5-hit games in 1 season. That's the record. He had 3. He has 3 this month.
Cool.
Think about that. All right. I mean, the record's in reach, right? I mean, 3.5 months of the season still left. I think something else that's cool is he has a streak of 96 games. You just kind of said this. He has a streak of 96 games without striking out more than once. So he has 0 2 strikeout games and 3 5-hit games. That is dumb. That just, like, none of what I just told you is normal. Like, especially in today's game where everyone prides themselves on throwing 100 and hitting homers. Arraez is just like an anomaly, right? Like, and honestly, it's getting to the point where he doesn't just stand out in today's game. He stands out in every era of all time.
Yeah.
So something else I have one more thing that's cool. You're going to like this. So he has 102 hits this year. 98 of them have an exit velocity under 100. That's nuts. He's simply elite at getting the bat on the ball, which is just a lost art in today's game.
I described it like Arraez is like taking a trip down memory lane. You know, it's like going into a time portal and looking at Tony Gwynn. You know what I mean? Like, Tony Gwynn was more your era.
Yeah, but even when Tony did this, like the pace he's on, it was like, holy shit, this is special. So really? This isn't like, oh, we're going back to old school baseball. No, we're tapping into something that has only happened like a few times in the history of baseball. I'm not booking him for a 400. I still have, like, I'm too realistic about this and don't think he's going to do it. I really hope he does. I feel like it's good for the game. I think MLB is praying he hits 400 because then they're like, see, we wanted more offense. We took the shift away and it worked.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, this is a guy who could do that. This isn't a guy you shift anyways. So it wouldn't matter.
No, it's true.
You're not going to shift him. He's foul line to foul line. Wherever you pitch him, I mean, you can pitch him. I saw him yesterday against the Blue Jays, cutter in, and somehow he still flayed it to left for a knock. And then next at bat, he almost took Jose Barrios' Blue Jay off his cap, dead up the middle, laser beam. Like he's an artist, man.
Yeah.
It's swinging the shillelagh.
Tony Gwynn was your era.
My era.
Right? Tony Gwynn was your era, right?
Kinda. Like
A little bit before.
Like the yeah, kinda. Like as I was a kid, he was like getting towards the end of his career.
But Tony Gwynn, deservedly so, got a lot of praise for everything he did with San Diego. Is Arraez getting enough credit for what he's doing in Miami here? Or is it just like a little too early?
I feel like in today's game, he needs even more credit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because no one hits like this, man. Like normally players that hit like this don't get an opportunity in the big leagues.
Yeah.
Because they're like looking for slug and power and production. Like he's not. This type of hitting is gonna come back. Like we talked about this years ago when we started this pod, that the game would eventually cycle back, and this was before any rule changes or even talk of rule changes. And I think that's part of what the league has done with the pitch clock and bigger bases, wanting guys to be active on the base paths and encourage base stealing, and then taking the shift away to promote guys and reward guys with hard hit singles, line drive mentality. So I think that's just going to help cycle the game back, which all in all is better for baseball. And it's so hard to hit a homer in the big leagues, man, especially now. I mean, I know why it's important, because it's so hard to string together, 3-4 hits to score runs off guys that are sitting 98 with 4 pitches.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like we just talked about Sandy Alcantara, who's sits 98.5 miles an hour. It's just like these guys. Like I was watching the game of Papelbon last night, and I was like, we're watching the game. It's just like 97. What Pablo Lopez? I mean, it's just 97, 97, 97. I'm like, we're so numb to guys throwing 97. Like when we were playing, but like, oh shit, 97. The flames used to pop up around the number on the score bug, and now it's just like 100, another guy, no big deal. Like that's so hard to hit.
You seen the College World Series?
Is it Skeen?
Skeens was pumping 100 every fucking pitch.
I'm glad they're showing the umpire cam.
Yeah, it's cool.
Because people are like, oh shit, it's like a BB coming in there.
It's not just Paul Skeens, though. Tennessee had a guy that was lighting it up.
Everybody, dude.
Yeah.
Everybody. There's the way guys train, they understand strength, they understand arm programs now from like 13 years old on. Like we're starting to see these kids that are in college right now were like the beginning of it, like for young kids.
Yeah.
Like 6-7 years ago. Like all these kids were when they started like 12, 13 years old. This is like where they started that era when guys were like, okay, we need to throw hard to be productive. Okay, big league teams are filling their rosters with guys that throw hard. Not necessarily the best pitchers, but some throwers in there because it's hard to hit, and we're going to go four-seam, top of the zone, hard as you can because guys are trying to lift it. So now, like I said, we're getting the game to cycle back a little bit, and maybe the pitch clock too at some point starts. If you want to be a pitcher that can work deep into the game, maybe you can't be max effort for 7 innings because you're going to be exhausted. So I don't know. I'm excited to see like what it looks like in 3 years after this.
Final question on Arraez. Right now, Ronald Acuna Jr. is the favorite to win National League MVP. You have a guy that's on pace for 30-30, potentially even 40-40.
Don't forget about Corbin Carroll, too.
Corbin Carroll, too. You're right. He's right in line. Tatis is making some noise, too, out in San Diego lately. Defensively, my gosh.
Jesus.
My question for you, what a lot of people are asking is, if a guy hits 400, is he guaranteed the MVP award?
In today's game, no. No, just because I think what has been made important, I think what teams prioritize and have made very clear, like we're going to pay guys that slug. So that's been made like priority. And I think production-wise, Acuna will probably have more. He'll produce more runs.
Agreed.
And WAR and all that, which are things they use to grade and measure these guys. So if Acuna stays on the pace he's on, he's the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be really hard. Arraez is going to get a lot of votes if he hits 400, and it's going to be really close, as it should be. As it should be, because what he's doing is a feat that it was special in the 40s when Ted Williams did it. It's special when Tony Gwynn was chasing it. It will always be special because of how hard this game is, and guys get out 7 times out of 10, and they're Hall of Famers. And he's doing it, getting out only 6 times every 10. It's insane. It's insane that he's done it through this many at-bats, honestly. So I'm glad he's starting to get some publicity and we're talking about it more, because it just doesn't happen, man. This is such a hard game. It's hard to hit 250 in today's game.
Let's move on and talk about the self-proclaimed America's team, the Cincinnati Reds. You talked about how, like, the games, just everybody hits 500-foot homers. Everybody throws 100 miles an hour. Apparently the bases aren't long enough either. Did you see the infield hit that Ellie De La Cruz legged out?
I don't want to – dude, I'm going to sound like an old head. I get so nervous, like, watching him dive into first base.
I know.
Like, don't get hurt, man.
It's because he's big.
We need him. Yeah, there's, like, too many long limbs and stuff to, like, snap in half. Like, I love it. I love the hustle. There's so many players in the game that are starting to, like, prioritize speed again. You know, him being one of them, but he's that rare combo of power and speed, which is really hard to come by. But I love that team. The team's fun. Matt McClain rakes. Steer, their first baseman, can hit. I mean, they need a pitch. I mean, they're going to struggle. They've struggled on the mound, but they're scoring enough runs where it's fine. They're playing good defense where it's fine. They got to go out and get an arm. They got to go pick somebody up from the White Sox. Like, grab somebody. Get a good reliever. Like, go for it. Why not go for it? Because if you're building, you're young and you could look at this team and say, you know, we don't need to go for it yet. We're too young. Kind of like the Baltimore Orioles last year going into the offseason. Their front office looked at it like, we don't need to go for it yet. If you're Cincinnati, go for it, man. This is the time, especially with where that division's at, to go for it. Because at some point, the Cubs are going to be legit again. Mm-hmm. The Pirates are well on their way, as we see right now. Like, they're right there for the division too. The Brewers obviously have arms, but, like, they're in a weird spot, like, where they could trade some guys, even though they're in the mix. So it's like, now's the time for Cincy to go for it. And, like, I'm not saying clean out your system, because this is it's been a rebuild. You're starting to finally see some dividends from the rebuild. So don't clean it out. Just go get, like, 1 or 2 guys and then use what you have, because what you have is working.
I hate to break your heart, but I think it's like a spitting image of the Baltimore Orioles last year, and we wanted Baltimore. We wanted
That's fair,
Baltimore.
But it's not the AL East.
You're right. It's not. You're right. That's a really good point. I just don't see them going out and getting rid of anybody to try and add, just because I didn't see Baltimore do it last year, and now Baltimore is has one of the best records in the American League now. So I feel like Cincinnati, they want to win a division. Maybe they make a minor move or two, but
the thing is, well, you got Hunter Green, right? You go add another arm, then all of a sudden you have 2 solid arms going into a postseason series. Like, you have a chance.
Don't forget about Lodolo, he's going to be sidelined until August right now. Dude's got strikeout stuff, dude. He's good.
Yeah, he does. You're right.
Good. Alexis Diaz in the bullpen.
So it's a wait and see situation, obviously, but I don't know why. I mean, they're definitely not going to be sellers at all. I don't think they're going to be super aggressive, but they at least have to add a starter, in my opinion. They have to add a starter. Yeah, I mean, they're like bottom of the barrel as far as starter ERA goes. And I know ERA is not everything, but you got to have pitchers to lock some stuff down.
You talked about Votto at the jump. Not the same player. He's not, 2010 NL MVP Joey Votto by any means, but he made adjustments at the plate about 2-3 years ago. He had 36 homers 2 years ago. 36. That was 2 years ago. And then he got injured last year and didn't quite have as much success. But hey, you know what? Maybe Joey Votto's an extra boost of energy.
And there's just a leadership. There's a leadership key there, like, that he adds to that club. I mean, we know how young they are.
Yeah,
they have a ton of guys that don't have much experience, not only playing in big leagues or big games or leading a division, but, like, just lack experience playing at this level. Mm-hmm. So He seems like a good guy as far as like approach and mentality. He comes across as a weird guy to people, but like he knows how to hit. Like the mentality of Arraez, like Votto has that mentality. He also has added like, and he said it publicly, like I've been trying to hit for more power. Like that's what I need to do to stay in the game. I'm not going to run the bases well anymore. I'm too old. I'm not going to hurt anybody hitting singles and taking walks, so I'm going to hit for power so I can keep a spot on the team. But let's not forget Joey Votto's like on base skills, his bat to ball skills that he was like Freddie Freeman for a while.
Yeah.
So he still has that in here. He knows he had to change his game to stay in the league.
Speaking of Freddie Freeman, Dodgers are in third place in the National League West. Are the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are 3.5 games up on the San Francisco Giants, second place San Francisco Giants, are the Arizona Diamondbacks the best team in that division?
I think so. I don't know why not. If they now. They are also in position where if one of their guys in Gallen or Kelly gets hurt, they look completely different. If someone at the back end of their bullpen gets hurt, they look completely different. If Corbin Carroll goes down, they look completely different. So they're an injury away from not winning that division, in my opinion. But if they stay healthy I think they have it. I do. And I think obviously the Dodgers still have a really good offense. They're still a really good team. They didn't do well in the offseason. Obviously, they lost Gavin Lux, which hurt them up the middle. So they have some holes. They definitely have some holes. I don't think the Giants are a second-place team. I think they're playing a little over their skis right now. I think they're overperforming right now. I think they're hot. I don't think that sticks. I think they end up in third place.
Okay.
I think the Dodgers figured out. But it's going to be like a race between Arizona and LA.
So San Diego's going to finish in fourth?
You
forget about them. You forget about them, right?
I just continue to be so disappointed in them.
Yeah.
It's like every time like they start playing well, I'm like, oh, here they come. And then they're going another 5-game losing streak. It's
I
like,
know.
what's going on? It's
They
like
need
something seems off there to me.
They need a stretch. They need a good stretch of games that they can put together.
They need to go like 22-7, like one of those type runs where they like all of a sudden in a month, you're like, okay, now we're in the, we're 3 games out, 4 games out, which they can. They have the offense to do it for sure. But it's like they seem like they slump together.
Yeah, no, they do. They absolutely
like when they're hot, they kill everybody, but then they cool off, everybody cools off. It's
100%. Yep. The way that Tatis is playing and Soto's getting the bat on the ball and Manny's starting to get hot too. The lineup's lethal and the pitching's decent enough. So I think they have a shot to go on a run for sure. That division's going to be tough though.
I was about to say it's a fun division with like half the season left to play, more than half the season left to play. There's a lot of divisions like that right now.
The media does not want Tatis to win the MVP, but he's going to be in the conversation the way he's playing.
It's easy to dislike him after last year, this year with him getting heckled and just kind of like dancing and acting like he doesn't care about it, which that's just I don't care. Like that's his way of handling the pressure and do your thing. I don't care. You did what you did. You paid the time. He's fun to watch. From a fan's perspective, he's fun to watch. So I'm not rooting against him at all. I would love to see a 4-team race in September, which we really might get.
The Dodgers have a luxury that no other team, if not that division, then in the entire league have. And they just have so much depth, dude. They got guys go down like Bueller. Okay, we have Noah Syndergaard. We're going to put him on the injured list. Okay, let's bring up Bobby Miller. Like they just have
another guy that throws 100
left and right. So
what else that is? Depth means pieces to move at a depth.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, it does. Any last thoughts on the Angels, who are 41-33 and in second place?
The Angels? They're a fun team, man. You look at what like Shohei just did on that road trip in Texas and Kansas City. Trout's starting to warm up a little bit. The Freeway Series about to start, which I think is fun. The 2-gamer with the Dodgers. I think it's in Anaheim, right? I believe it's in Anaheim. So, but like the Dodgers are like the heavy favorites to land Shohei in the offseason. So it'll be kind of cool for them to play against each other. Shohei's starting game 2 of that. Kershaw's throwing game 1 against Reed Detmers. That'll be a fun series. I think this is a good measuring stick for the Angels, and it's kind of two teams at the moment trending in opposite directions. Like the Angels are playing good ball, the Dodgers are not. They just got swept by the Giants, moved into third. So this is going to be a really fun series, I think. And for the fans on the West Coast, this is always fun.
Winner gets the rights to Shohei Ohtani.
Okay,
that would make things very interesting.
I can guarantee I know exactly where Scott Boras will be the next 2 nights.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And he'll be in his little suite next to the on-deck circle for the visiting team in Anaheim.
Thanks for jumping on, buddy. You're going to be on the NESN broadcast team, not pregame, postgame, right? You're on the actual broadcast this week?
No. Team's out of town. So I'm just doing pre- and postgame this week on NESN. So hour pregame, hour postgame. I'm with Jonathan Papelbon this week, so it should be a shit show.
Are you going out with Pat?
No, I have kids. I have a wife. I it's my job to keep him out of jail. I did get a lot of ones from the ATM just in case.
Oh man, you better share that with them. All right, Wake and Rake podcast people. We're actually going to talk later this week. We're going to get Mark Gubicza up on the show, former World Series champ,
also known as Gooby.
Gooby.
I love Gooby. So when I was actually in Anaheim doing the broadcast, Sox Angels, caught up with them, talked to him for a sec. Best hair in the league, best teeth in the league, and wait till you see the tan on this guy. My goodness, he is golden. It's like Dennis Eckersley. All the guys from that era have just like the perfect tans. Now they do TV. It's funny. Good guy though. You're gonna enjoy him.
If that isn't the best teaser for a next episode, I don't know what it is.
He'll love that too. He'll love that too when you tell him.
We'll talk soon, people. Peace.